What's up, it's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my March wrap-up. Hello everybody. It is way later than when I usually film, hence the weird lighting. But bear with me, we are gonna film this March wrap-up early. It is currently April 2nd. We're trying to stay on top of things, okay? If you're new here, I do all my wrap-ups in the reread, rewrite, burn tag method. If anyone knows who was the creator of that tag, it was not me, so please link them down below so I know for the future, because I've been doing this for like over 4 years now. That's wild. It's just a fun way to do my wrap-ups. I put all the titles of the books I read in that month on little slips of paper, put them in this handy dandy skull. I pull out 3 at a time and I say whether I would reread, rewrite, or burn the book, hypothetically. So it's basically like fuck, marry, kill, but make it bookish. Let's start with the March recap. It was a decent reading month in terms of ratings. I read a total of 23 books. Oh, I also started keeping track of the format of the books, and we did 9 physical, 6 digital, 5 immersive readings, so following along with the audiobook and the physical book, and then 2 just strictly audiobooks. Total number of pages, I read 5,895. My best book of the month was this little cutie right here, Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. This, I actually bought a physical copy, but I read an e-arc of it, and I saw it at my local bookstore. I've seen people say that they couldn't get it anywhere other than Amazon, and I was like, wow, of course my favorite horror bookstore has it in stock. The cashier said they just got it in the day before I bought it, so I was like, hell yeah. I'll link all my vlogs down below. This is essentially like the movie Good Boy, which is wild because I was talking to Mia Ballard actually on Instagram, and she said she never finished the movie Good Boy, but she keeps hearing that it's similar, but also not the same at all, and this is way more disturbing in the good way. We follow this woman, Gia, who is like down on her luck, has money problems. She goes to a sugar daddy website. She meets Nathan. He wants to hire her to be his dog for 8 hours a day. And then it spirals from there, and it gets so wild and gross and disturbing, and I will absolutely reread this. Give this 5 stars. It's so easy to fly through. I can't wait to read more from Mia Ballard. She also wrote Sugar as well as We All Rot Eventually, and I believe they're both on Kindle Unlimited. She is also a BIPOC author, so there you go. Another plus for this book. The worst book of the month was this short story collection called Anoka by, is it Shane Hawk? I read this for a vlog that's not up yet. I gave it 2 stars. I never heard anyone talk about this book until I did research for this vlog, so I was like, let me pick something that I can go in blindly to. And this was a short story collection, like I said, by an Indigenous author. There were a couple stories that I was able to follow through and through and was engaged in, but most of them were just like, okay, it was a story, moving on type thing. It went by really fast. I read it on my phone actually because I could only find it available on my Hoopla. So I read it on my phone, so that was already a negative experience in and of itself, but it's only like, I don't know, less than 200 pages, so I was like, okay, you got this, Jan, it's fine. The arcs that I read this month already came out, but I still have the arcs in my NetGalley, and you could still review them and up your NetGalley score if that's your goal in order to receive more arcs, get approved for more arcs. And it's just nice to get them off that NetGalley shelf, so I still count them for this monthly reading goal that I have. Like I said, I read Shy Girl as a NetGalley arc, and then January's by Olivia Blake, which is another short story collection. I love this. I gave this 4 stars. The story, The House, it was the shortest one in this whole book, but it was the best story that I've read in pretty much my entire life. I am not even joking. The writing was impeccable. It was the same feeling that I got from reading A Dowry of Blood. Like, it was that type of like whatever. It resonated with me that hard. It has some magical realism type of stories, straight up fantasy stories. There are like vampires and monsters and these deadly games. It was a fun one, but of course there were some duds as well, because as with most story collections, that happens with me personally at least. But I will read anything Olivia Blake writes. I'm so excited to read Gifted and Talented because the publisher sent it to me, and it's on my April TBR, so hopefully I get to that soon. On my Patreon, if you haven't heard, we're called The Lair. We're vampire themed. Patreon link's always down below. We have a monthly reading challenge called the Coffin Covers Challenge. You basically look for something on the cover every single month and you try to read at least one book from there. The coffin cover challenge was to read a book with a beverage on the cover. I kept switching mine up because there were a lot more than I expected to find, but I ended up landing on The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. This is the newest installment in the Dream Harbor series. This is a little small town romance series, and the covers are the cutest things ever. I literally want to own all of them, even though some of them are 3 stars. I will keep them on my shelves because they're just the cutest covers. Gingerbread Bakery comes out, I think, in September, I want to say. This one was a single dad nanny trope in the small town Dream Harbor. Archer goes to the small town. He's a big world-renowned chef, and he ends up working at the diner. He needed a nanny, so in comes Iris. I gave this 3 stars because there was one specific thing that I do talk about in my vlog. There was just something that wasn't disclosed. There was a piece of information that the woman left out in a crucial scene that then led to a result that may or may not have ended the way she wanted it to, but she was lucky enough that Archer's a sweetheart. It didn't sit well with me. It rubbed me the wrong way, the way she went about it, and the way she just like chose to omit that information when it was very important to that moment. That's all I'm gonna say about that, but overall it was cute. This is the book that made me realize that I like single dad nanny tropes if there's only one kid involved. If there's more than one, or if the kid's really, really young, like baby young, like in Juniper Hill, that's when it gets like meh for me, but otherwise I don't mind it. There were just some things about this that the author was trying to do and then kind of contradicted herself, but whatever. There were a lot of Gilmore Girls-y moments with the town hall meetings and things like that, so I had a fun time. I try to read at least one book from any book box subscriptions that I have or have had in the past. This month I read The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica. This is the author of Tender is the Flesh, and this is from the Aardvark Book Club box, which I am a rep for. I have a discount code to get your first box for $4 and free shipping, which is a steal, let me tell you. And the code is JAN, J-A-N. It's down below as well if you forget. Aardvark's great. They have diverse titles every single month, genres for everybody. They have selections that not a lot of people talk about, so you could find new favorites that you've never even heard of before, and it's just so great. And can we talk about the matte covers and their social media? I will always give praise to their social media because their hints every month, so creative. I will never get over it. I gave this 3 stars, like a low 3. I read this in a day. I finished it on the way to a concert, actually, because I was that desperate to finish it within a day. It's very Handmaid's Tale meets... I actually have so many notes in my notes thing this month. Oh, I Who Have Never Known Men. There were just a lot of scenes that I'm like, please let it end. But at the same time, I feel like this would have benefited from being longer. I don't know. I feel like I'm already doing the reread, rewrite, burn thing, so I'm just gonna stop there until it comes up. For my 2025 TBR, I read Don't Let the Forest In, which I gave 4 stars. This was my full moon book club pick for the month, so I do have a spoiler-filled dedicated reading vlog. I'll link that down below. The Troop by Nick Cutter. I read this for the same vlog as Anoka that hasn't come out yet. I gave this 2 stars as well. And then This Could Be Us, which is in my Keep It or Kick It vlog episode 3 that I started in January and finished in March. The video, not this book. This book I gave 4 stars. It was really good. I think it had a unique plot line for a romance. The whole premise of self-love and self-partnering while also falling in love and also taking care of kids, also dealing with this ex that really fucked her up. Check trigger warnings. There's a lot going on with that ex, and it was a ride. All right, let's go into our first round of Reread, Rewrite, or Burn. So we've got The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. January's by Olivia Blake. See, this is why I like doing the recaps, because I already talked about all of these. Oh, see? And then This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Wow, this is gonna be hard. Fuck. Okay. Yikes. Okay, I would burn The Strawberry Patch Pancake House because this is not my favorite in the series. I've read all of them so far, and my favorite is actually Christmas Tree Farm, the one before this. If you know me, that's kind of ironic because I always considered myself not a Christmas romance girly, but that book turned me into a Christmas romance girly. The ranking probably goes Christmas Tree Farm, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, probably this, and then Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I feel like Gingerbread Bakery is gonna go above this. I think it's gonna be better than this. Ow, my hip just popped. I would reread January's because I feel like I dragged this out way too long. So I feel like maybe some of the stories I wasn't fully engaged in because I was just like, oh my god, I'm still reading this book, you know what I mean? But I really love a lot of the stories in this book. A couple of them really stuck with me, so I would reread this one, and then I would rewrite this. Like I mentioned earlier, I would rewrite this to only have one kid involved in the story, or even just the twins, but that didn't even really need to happen. I think Judah could have just had one kid, and then Soledad, if she didn't have any kids, it would have made it less complicated with the ex situation. So maybe if she also had one kid, then it would have still kept the plot interesting. But at the same time, I think if she didn't have a kid, it could still be just as messy because the ex was messy and he was holding things against her and kind of blackmailing her and stuff. So yeah, just one kid. All right, next three. Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, West by Edith Pateau, and The Unworthy by Agustina Bazterrica. I would reread Don't Let the Forest In. I really love the writing. Everyone loves the writing in this book. I haven't heard a single bad thing about this book, to be honest with you. I gave it 4 stars because it didn't give me that 5-star feeling by the end. Also, I predicted some things, and there were some parts that were very YA. It was very angsty at times, but the writing is beautiful. The atmospheric writing, the gothic vibes, beautiful book. Again, I have the spoiler-filled vlog linked down below. I would probably rewrite this, make it a little bit longer and a little more like Hold My Hand, a little more straightforward. It felt kind of woo-woo, I'm not gonna lie. Very culty, religious horror, and it's obviously very short. The font is huge. There were a lot of questions by the end. I think if she fleshed out a little bit more things and made things a little less metaphorical, like just leave the right amount up for interpretation, I think this would have been at least a 4-star for me. And then I would burn West. I don't know why that book took me so long. It's a middle grade fantasy. It's the sequel to East, which I read twice when I was younger, and it's a thick book, but the chapters are really short. It's like an adventure story about this girl named Rose whose parents were really superstitious about which direction you were born, and then she meets this white bear, and there's this whole thing with a troll queen. In the second book, she keeps like losing people she loves in different ways, whether it's death or just like going missing or other creatures getting involved. So it was a lot of that and a lot of traveling and meandering and secrets. Yeah, I don't want to give things away, but I guess I would burn that and just reread East. I don't think it really needed a sequel, to be honest. All right. Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. Oof. Victorian Psycho. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. There's always one. There's always one that is so difficult. These were all 5-star books. Oh my god. I don't want to. I don't want to choose. This is rude. This is actual disrespect. How am I supposed to do this? What am I supposed to burn? No. I could actually cry. Just the thought of burning any of these books personally insults me. Oh my god. Fuck. God, these were all such good books. I guess if I would burn one, I would say Victorian Psycho, just because I guess there are so many books about unhinged women like this, and I'm sure there's one in this like time period as well. This one just had such a unique sense of humor, I think, and the ending was done really well. It was like subtle and again up for interpretation, kind of, not really. Like there was an intent in there. It's just a matter of if the reader got it. I just edited the Lair Bloody Read spoiler-filled vlog for this. This was my buddy read with my Patreon. We call it the Lair Bloody Read, and I do spoiler-filled vlogs for it, and I was just reliving all the funny moments, like with that baby. Oh my god, that was the most iconic scene in this book. Yeah, I guess we'll burn this just because, yeah, I already said what I said. Sometimes it was a little bit too unserious for me because I wanted just straight rage sometimes, but I mean, she also fulfilled the rage thing. But it's okay, I bought Mrs. March by this author. Maybe when I read that, I won't have to burn it. But this kind of hurts because I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed my time reading this. The Shorty Patorti horror, which is like my favorite. Okay, fine, we'll burn that. Now, what do I do? do I do? What do I do? This is kind of a cop-out. All right, I'm gonna reread Shy Girl because I would probably do that anyway, so I could annotate my physical copy. And then for rewriting You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, I would say make it longer and add more, what's her name? Joy, her best friend. She was my favorite character. I wanted more of her. I wanted her love story. I wanted her life. Make this a 500+ page book and just like put both their stories in one book. I would love an interconnected standalone companion novel or whatever with Joy's story because I loved her. But this was so fucking good. If you haven't read this and you're in the mood for like a messy romance with a lot of tension and good steamy scenes, some taboo stuff, and some intense moments with family drama. Ooh, what does the synopsis say? Okay, so yeah, it does say in the synopsis that Fei starts dating this dude and then he takes her on vacation to his dad's house or whatever. He's like this super famous chef and she starts falling for the dad. It's done so well. There's so much depth. There are so many layers. There's grief. There are reasons why Fei and the dad connected so well. They both lost people. They both feel the same things. The connection is strong. I would like more moments with them too, just together. It felt a little bit fast, but it felt like the moments were too brief, where they were having like one-on-one, heart-to-heart conversations. I feel like those could have been longer. So yes, okay, we're gonna go with that. Okay, let's hope the rest are easy. Okay. The Slob by Aaron Beauregard. That is how he says his name, and it sounds wrong to me every time. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Is it Poston or Poston? Call Me By Your Name by Andre Asiman. We're gonna go with that. Look at me reading from my physical TBR. I would reread Call Me By Your Name, even though I only gave this 3 stars. This is again in the same vlog as The Troop and Anoka, so further thoughts will be in that vlog if you want to watch it. But for now, I'll tell you that I gave it 3 stars. I really like the writing. This is a male-male love story. There's a dude who's 17 and a dude who's 24, and they're in Italy. It's a weird dynamic, and the younger one, he's exploring all his desires and it's coming of age, and there's a lot of like complicated matters throughout, and there's a lot of mistreatment emotionally. Some parts just like kind of give me the ick, but at the same time, some quotes were just so fucking good. It's hard for me to not keep this on my shelves. It's just also the ending, like the last maybe like half of part 3, I was just bored and I just wanted it to end. Like, I got the story, it's fine. I liked how they kind of showed like where are they now type of thing, but they could have cut out a lot of the parts in that part and just skipped to that type of epilogue section. I would rewrite The Slob. This is Joey's favorite book from his favorite author. He reread it for a buddy read spoiler-filled vlog for my Patreon. I read it for the first time and there was something in the ending that was just so unnecessary, and I said exactly how I would rewrite it in that vlog. So if you saw it, I'm sorry, you're gonna hear this again. But basically there's a chapter, and I feel like once we got that problem solved, if you just fast forwarded to the last chapter instead of having this middle chapter in between about reasonings behind certain things, this would have been perfect. This would have been a perfect extreme horror novella. The Slob is this nasty dude who is just a slob, as you can see from the cover, and this girl tries to sell him a vacuum cleaner and shit hits the fan, to say the least. And then I guess I'll burn The 7-Year Slip. I know this is such a beloved book on BookTube and every bookish platform ever, but I gave this 3 stars and I just don't think I'd read it again. I'm keeping it on my shelves because my friend Liv from Liv's Library gifted it to me, so thank you, Liv. It was a time travel thing for me. I'm not a fan of time travel books. I thought I could look past it because this is like a fun, quirky rom-com. The way it was done was just so convoluted and the transitions weren't smooth, but I like the character growth of our main character. I thought the dude was cute for her, and the things he said and did were cute. Some cringy parts for sure, but I think their dynamic and relationship and interactions were cute. And there was this whole thing with the pigeons. Their names were Mother and Fucker, and I thought that was funny. There's also a lot of grief talk about our main female character's aunt, because she inherits her aunt's apartment and she lives there, and there's this whole thing with the guy who showed up at the apartment and it happened to be a guy from 7 years ago, and it's this whole like time thing. Don't hate me if you love that book. It's just not my thing. I'm gonna try a novel love story by this author, and if that's not a hit for me, then I give up on her. Next 3, we've got Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, Something in the Walls by Daisy Pierce, and The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. I would reread The Fall Risk because I love that book and I wish it were a full novel because I felt so connected to both those characters in just 80 pages and I wanted more. I wanted to be in the know in their discussions. I wanted to see where they end up. It was 80 pages long. Like, come on, how does Abby Jimenez do that? And I've only read part of Your World. I just know she's a talented woman. So that was about these 2 people who had maintenance issues, like their stairs disappeared one day and they needed to stay trapped in their apartments for like 3 days. So they would have late night conversations and it was just so cute and they got to know each other really well and it was adorable. But then there was also this deeper subplot line to it that was actually really intense and I'm surprised that Abby Jimenez was able to pull it off in such a short time because it could have been a trigger for people type of plot line. I would burn Something in the Walls. I gave this 2 stars and I just wish it took a very different direction than it did. I was so excited for this, but I wish it was a different type of supernatural or just a more realistic plot than what it actually is. I was so disappointed in that. I will be unhauling that. That will be on my Pango, which is always linked down below. I would rewrite Deep End. I don't know how. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I read it for a 24-hour readathon vlog that I will be posting after this. I'll have more of my in-depth thoughts in that vlog, but this is about, I mean, you've probably heard of this. Scarlett, the diver, and then what's his face? Lucas, the Olympic swimmer. They both have the same kinks. He's dating one of her close friends or someone on her team, and she was just kind of over it because she's like, I feel like I'm not fulfilling his needs because I'm not into that kinky stuff, but you are, so like you two should have sex. And then so they do. Obviously, it turns into something more real, but it is a very slow burn, I think, because of how long it is. I don't know how I would rewrite it. I feel like there were some parts that really annoyed me. The girl who was like, you guys should have sex, she pulled some shit at the end that I didn't like. She also kept saying the whole like, oh, so 50 Shades thing. There were also some parts about the swimming and diving that I didn't really care for, so maybe less of that. But at the same time, I liked how that played into their connection with each other, their support for each other, and her character growth in terms of overcoming certain things that she was personally going through internally. So that's all I got with that. Next 3, The Troop by Nick Cutter, Glaciers by, was it Alexis M. Smith, and then Walking Practice by Dolky Min. I would burn this. I gave this 2 stars. I'm gonna give this to Joey if he wants it. Otherwise, I'm gonna sell it on Pango. I stopped tabbing halfway through. I stopped caring about 1/4 of the way through. The animal abuse, I feel like we didn't need that many at all. I mean, I understand if you put 1 in there. I said this in my vlog too. I understand 1 just to like see how fucked up these kids are getting, but also this reminded me a lot of Lord of the Flies, which I hated when I read it in school. That's mostly why I was just like not into this, and it got a little bit too sci-fi for me, which seems to be the thing with Nick Cutter. He puts a little bit of sci-fi in his horror, so wasn't a fan of this. There were like no female characters in this. Reading from teenage boys is just so exhausting and annoying and just icky. I also didn't like the way it was paced and laid out. I feel like we were revealed things too early and then there was nothing to look forward to anymore other than the gross parts, the body horror and shit like that. So yeah, whatever. I would reread Glaciers. I really liked the writing in that book. I listened to the audiobook. There were definitely a lot of annotatable quotes, and it was a very nostalgic feeling book. I really don't know how to explain it, but it's just mundanities of this woman's life, and she loved thrift shopping. She was just kind of living in Alaska, trying to live her life, proving herself to her family members, and it was a short book with a lot of atmospheric writing and good quotes and stuff, so I would reread that physically. Walking Practice I read on Kindle Unlimited. I would have to rewrite that in this scenario, and I don't know what I would do. This is about an alien who eats humans. It's spending its time on Earth. It has a lot of discussions about gender and just humanity in general and how it's trying to figure out why humans do all these weird things. And I really like the ending too. It was a lot more extreme than I expected. There were a lot of, I guess, alien language in it that you can't really read or experience unless you're listening to the audiobook I heard, because there are sound effects tracks. I don't know. I didn't listen to the audiobook, so I just heard from friends. But overall, I gave Walking Practice 4 stars. I think it was very well written. Commentary was great, and it was short. It's a horror, and I usually don't like books with aliens, but this one was an exception. We're almost done. Summer's End by Juno Black, Guilt and Ginataan by Mia P. Banansala, and Anoka by Shane Haw. Would burn Anoka because that was the worst book of the month. I would reread Guilt and Ginataan. That is by a Filipino author, so I would probably listen to those audiobooks again when the series ends, to be honest. Like if I just want a cozy reread of something. I mean, it's rare for me to reread audiobooks, to be honest, unless Bonnie Turpin narrates it, but this series just makes me feel like I'm home because I am Filipino, if you didn't know, and the narrator's accent's so accurate. There's like a range of Filipinos, you know, there's the very, very, very Filipinos, like older generation or like just came from the Philippines type of Filipinos, and then there's also like, whitewashed Filipinos who speak in Taglish and just like combine words in the different languages, and it's just so accurate in the book, in the writing, in the narration, in the audiobook. So good. So this is a cozy mystery series. I think this is the 5th one, I want to say. It's a cute, fun time, and it's very relatable to me personally. And then Summer's End, I guess I would rewrite. It's another cozy mystery, and I think it's also the 5th book in the Shady Hollow series. I would rewrite this to make it a little less predictable. I know cozy mysteries are supposed to be a little bit predictable, like they're so formulaic, and that's the point of it. That's how it's cozy, is because they're so predictable, but some of them actually shocked me in this series. But this one, I knew, like I saw it from miles away, so I would have changed that. This one was a lot more academic, which was surprising. I didn't really care about all the new characters that were introduced, especially Lenore's sister. She was so annoying. Lenore's the Raven who owns the Nevermore bookstore. Get it? Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe, in the town of Shady Hollow, and we meet her sister for the first time, and I didn't like her. Are these the last two? Alphabetical Diaries by Sheila Heti and The Liminal Zone 2 by Junji Ito. I would reread both of these. I would. I gave them both 5 stars. This is Junji Ito's newest work. Joey bought this for me from our local horror bookstore that I got Shy Girl at. It's a story collection that I really enjoyed. I was shook by all of them. There are some story collections by Junji Ito where I'm just like, meh, but every single one of these stories, there was at least one illustration or panel that just made my jaw drop. All of these stories. I didn't even know this was coming out, so thank you, fellow vamp Astilbe, for putting this on my radar. I gave this 5 stars as well. This is a nonfiction, my first nonfiction of 2025, and this is really cool because every sentence from start to finish is in alphabetical order. Not only that, but each sentence is from this author's diaries, literally her journals. She put them in a spreadsheet. It says in the synopsis, she collected 500,000 words from a decade's worth of journals, put the sentences in a spreadsheet, and sorted them alphabetically. She cut and was left with 60,000 words of brilliance and mayhem, joy and sorrow. These are her alphabetical diaries. Yes, it's very stream of consciousness. Every time I've told people about this book, they're like, how does it make sense? And I'm like, it's all stream of consciousness, and it does get a little bit, not redundant, but just like, we lost the plot type of thing. Not that there's a plot in the memoir, whatever you would call this, but it doesn't feel like there's a point anymore by the end, which is weird to say. But I only say that because in the first half, each chapter, each letter, it felt like there was a goal, there was an objective, there were quotes that hit, there were words being said and meaningful things being put out there. But then towards the end, it was just, okay, she wasn't even talking about herself a lot of the time anymore, and there were a lot of staccato sentences that just ruined the flow of the writing, which is so hard to do. Like, I gave this 5 stars for the craftsmanship. My enjoyment level was 4 stars. I said that in my review as well, but upon reread, I feel like I would appreciate it even more than I do now. By the end, I was just like, hey, what are we trying to say here? Because in the beginning, I got it. Like, there's a lot about life and humanity, feeling lost in your 20s, and just living day to day and not appreciating certain things, taking things for granted. I did like the why chapter because I love second person point of view, and there are a lot of sentences that start with you. Like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to have your personality. There were just some chapters, some pages where I'm just like, okay, I don't know if I know what I mean, but I'm tired. It's like 10 p.m. I have work tomorrow, so I'm gonna close this out. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, put a blue heart emoji to represent the cover of Shy Girl. Thank you so much for watching once again. Don't forget to do some self-care. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Agree, disagree. Chat in the comments down below. I hope you have a 5-star day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.